William Shakespeare, the man who invented the modern world. Part 1. Introduction and the English Parchment Method. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to English Parchment. Today, we are stepping away from the world of politics and war to explore the life of a man whose words have lasted for over 400 years. We are talking about the Bard of Avon, William Shakespeare. Before we travel back to the streets of 16th century London, please hit that like button and subscribe to English Parchment. We are dedicated to helping you master English through the most beautiful stories in history, and your support means everything to us. Today, we are using the literary immersion technique. 1. Vocabulary expansion. Shakespeare added over 1,700 words to the English language. Today, we will look at how he did it and how you can use his word-building tricks in your own English. 2. Rhythmic listening. Shakespeare wrote in a specific rhythm. Even though we are using B1 level English today, try to listen to the music of the sentences. This helps with your natural speaking flow. 3. The 20-minute marathon. To truly learn a language, you must spend time with it. This 2,200-word script is designed to keep you immersed in English for a full 20 minutes. What if I told you that you are already speaking Shakespeare? If you have ever said that love is blind, or described a heart of gold, or said that something vanished into thin air, you are quoting a man who lived 400 years ago. But who was he? Was he a simple son of a glove maker, or was he a secret aristocrat? Some people even believe he didn't exist at all. Today on English Parchment, we solve the mystery of the man behind the plays. Stay with us until the end, because we will reveal how Shakespeare's themes of power and betrayal are perfectly reflected in the world events of 2026. Part 2. The Mystery of Stratford. Our story begins in April 1564 in a small, quiet town called Stratford-upon-Avon. William was the son of John Shakespeare, a successful glovemaker and a local politician, and Mary Arden, the daughter of an affluent farmer. While we don't have his school records, we believe William attended the King's New School in Stratford. Here, he would have spent 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, studying Latin, Greek, and Roman history. This is very important for you as an English learner on English Parchment to remember. Even the world's greatest writer had to sit in a classroom and study grammar and vocabulary, just like you. However, life wasn't always easy. When William was a teenager, his father's business began to fail. Instead of going to a university like Oxford or Cambridge, William had to stay home and help the family. Then, at the age of 18, he surprised everyone by marrying Anne Hathaway, a woman who was 8 years older than him. They quickly had 3 children, Susanna, and twins Hamnet and Judith. And then, William Shakespeare disappeared. For 7 years, between 1585 and 1592, there are no records of his life. Historians call these the lost years. Was he a teacher, a soldier, a law clerk? Or was he traveling with a group of actors? This mystery is one of the reasons why the world is still fascinated by him today. Part 3. The Rough Streets of London. In 1592, Shakespeare reappears in the history books, but not in Stratford. He was in London, the New York City of the 16th century. London was a crowded, dirty, and exciting place. It was filled with poets, sailors, thieves, and royalty. But not everyone was happy to see him. A famous writer of that time called Shakespeare an upstart crow, a man who thought he was better than he actually was. Shakespeare didn't have a university degree, and the elite writers of London didn't like that a glovemaker's son was becoming more popular than them. Shakespeare didn't care about the critics. He joined a theatre company called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. He was an actor, a writer, and a part owner of the business. He realized that the theatre was the most powerful form of media. There was no television, no internet, and no English Parchment YouTube channel back then. If you wanted to see a story, you went to the theatre. Part 4. The Globe. Theatre for Everyone. In 1599, Shakespeare's company built the most famous theatre in history, the Globe. It was a massive, circular building made of wood, with an open roof. The Globe was unique because it brought the whole world together. The poorest people, called groundlings, paid 1 penny to stand on the ground in front of the stage. The rich aristocrats sat in the expensive galleries above. Shakespeare had to write for both of them. For the groundlings, he included jokes, fights, and ghosts. For the educated nobles, he included deep philosophy, beautiful poetry, and complex political debates. This is why his plays are so long and rich. He was trying to make everyone in London happy at the same time. This inclusive style is something we try to mirror here at English Parchment by making English accessible to everyone, regardless of their background. Part 5. The Master of the English Language. Now let's talk about why we are still studying him on English Parchment in 2026. Before Shakespeare, English was a messy language. It was seen as less important than Latin or French. Shakespeare changed that. He was a word machine. When he couldn't find a word to describe a feeling, he simply invented a new one. Here are a few words he created. Lonely. Imagine a world without that word. Hurry. Bedroom. Generous. He also loved to create idioms, phrases where the meaning is different from the individual words. If you are a B1 learner, you know how difficult idioms can be. But you have Shakespeare to thank for phrases like breaking the ice or waiting with bated breath. He showed that English could be flexible, musical, and incredibly powerful. He didn't just write plays, he designed the very language you are using to watch this video right now. Part 6. The Great Tragedies and Comedies. Shakespeare wrote 38 plays, and they cover every human emotion. He wrote comedies like A Midsummer Night's Dream, where people fall in love and get lost in magical forests. These were full of light and laughter. But he is most famous for his tragedies. In plays like Hamlet, Macbeth, and Othello, he explored the dark side of the human heart. He showed how ambition can destroy a man, how jealousy can burn a family, and how a son's grief can bring down a kingdom. In Romeo and Juliet, he wrote the most famous love story in history. Even if you haven't read the play, you know the story of the star-crossed lovers from different families who cannot be together. Shakespeare's genius was that he didn't create perfect heroes. His characters are like us. They make mistakes, they feel afraid, and they are often confused. This is why his plays still feel modern today. Part 7. The Sonnets and the Private Man. While his plays were for the public, Shakespeare also wrote 154 poems called Sonnets. These were more private. In these poems, he talks about the fear of getting old, the pain of unrequited love, and the power of time. Many of these poems are addressed to a fair youth and a dark lady. Who were they? Historians have been debating this for centuries. Was the fair youth a young nobleman he loved? Was the dark lady a real woman in London? We may never know. Shakespeare was a master of branding before that word even existed. He kept his private life a secret while making his public works the talk of the town. He was a brilliant businessman who eventually made enough money to retire comfortably. Part 8. The Final Acts in Stratford. In 1610, at the age of 46, Shakespeare did something unusual. He stopped writing and moved back to Stratford-upon-Avon. He had become a wealthy man and bought the second largest house in the town, called New Place. He lived the life of a country gentleman, taking care of his family and his investments. He died on April 23rd, 1616, which was also his 52nd birthday. He was buried in Holy Trinity Church in Stratford. On his grave, there is a famous curse that warns anyone not to move his bones. To this day, no one has dared to open his grave. When he died, he wasn't yet the global icon he is today. That happened a few years later, when his friends collected all his plays and published them in a large book called The First Folio. If they hadn't done this, half of his plays, including Macbeth and The Tempest, would have been lost forever. Part 9. Shakespeare in 2026. Why he still matters. Today, on March 3rd, 2026, the world looks very different from the Wooden Globe Theatre of 1599. We have AI, we have space travel, and as we have discussed in our recent English Parchment videos, we have massive global conflicts like Operation Epic Fury. But if Shakespeare were alive today, he would recognize everything he sees. He would see the ambition and the power struggles of leaders like Donald Trump or Ali Khamenei and say, "I have written about this before." In his play Julius Caesar, he showed what happens when a leader becomes too powerful and his friends turn against him. In Richard III, he showed how a man will do anything to reach the top. In 2026, Shakespeare is being performed in virtual reality. Students are using AI to translate his difficult 16th century English into modern slang, but the core of his work remains the same. He reminds us that no matter how much technology changes, human nature does not. We still fall in love, we still feel jealous, we still fear death, and we still hope for a better future. As an English learner on English Parchment, Shakespeare is your ultimate goal. He is the boss at the end of the video game. But remember, he didn't write for professors. He wrote for people who stood in the rain to hear a good story. Part 10. Conclusion and the next step. Thank you for spending these 20 minutes with us here on English Parchment. We hope this journey into the life of William Shakespeare has inspired you to look at English not just as a set of grammar rules, but as a beautiful living art form. By reaching the end of this long video, you have practiced your sustained listening, which is one of the hardest skills for a B1 learner. You should be very proud of yourself. Now, I have a question for you. Shakespeare invented many famous phrases. If you could invent a new word in English today to describe life in 2026, what would it be? Write your invented word and its meaning in the comments below. We love seeing how creative the English Parchment community can be. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to English Parchment. Your support allows us to keep exploring history, one word at a time. Check the video description for the full transcript of this lesson to practice your reading. We will see you in the next video, where we will look at another legendary figure who changed the course of history. Keep reading, keep listening, and keep growing with English Parchment. Goodbye.